5 hitter questions. And first up, Vlad Jr. You heard up at the top, I mentioned the numbers since Vlad cut his hair. I don't think there's actually anything to do with the hair, but it's just funny that event happened, and he has just been amazing since then. The overall numbers for Vlad, it's a 323 batting average, 25 homers, 80 RBI, and a 950 OPS. Yesterday, Chris, you said you moved Vlad up to your number 1 first baseman. So the first question is for Scott.
Well, hold on.
All right.
Sorry.
It's all good.
I'll ask the question.
You ask it.
Have Scott and Frank moved Vlad up to the number 1 first baseman? Because I'm looking at the rankings right now in the rotisserie scoring format for fantasy baseball. Mm. You don't have him number 1.
No, I don't. I haven't moved him to
Frank.
number 1.
Frank doesn't have him number 2.
Whoa.
So why are we putting Scott on
I'm supposed to be asking.
Why does Scott have to get put his hand on the Bible and answer the question? Who are you? I'm the only one who's done it so far.
I haven't done it, but I probably should. What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, I thought about it in my big rankings update yesterday. It's certainly defensible. I opted not to, just because when in doubt, I usually don't update. Because I think it's kind of my role to be the steady hand when everybody else is reacting to the latest thing happening. And the way I justify it. So I do have Vladimir Guerrero 2nd in Roto. I have him 3rd in points. He's behind just Bryce Harper in Roto, because Harper, of course, is capable of getting very hot and doing exactly what Guerrero's been doing the past couple months, but with some stolen bases, with more runs and RBI, batting in the Phillies lineup. I think over the long run, Vladimir Guerrero doesn't really have anything on Harper. He does have a home run advantage, I think, at this stage of their career over Freddie Freeman, which is why I moved him ahead of Freddie Freeman in Roto. But I kept Freeman ahead in points because walks and doubles. Freeman still hits a ton of doubles, which aren't rewarded at all in Roto. They are rewarded in points leagues, and also, the walks. So it's and if you look at the head-to-head points per game between the 3 players, it's closer than you probably think. In fact, Harper may actually have the edge.
I think they're all right at 3.5.
Yeah. Yep.
So the thought process for me and why I'm willing to buy in for Vlad is there was a perception coming into the season specifically that he was just not the type of hitter, for whatever reason, who would live up to his underlying stats. The underlying stats last year were still really, really good, but he way underperformed them. And there were a lot of thoughts about why it was, right? He doesn't pull the ball enough, or his offensive production was inflated in 2021 by the minor league parks they played in. Well, if you actually look at his career, this is now 6 seasons for Vladimir Guerrero. 5 of them, he has played almost exactly to his expected WOBA. This year, it's 413 is his ex-WOBA. His actual WOBA is 400, but he's catching up real quick. Last year's the only year that he underperformed by more than 13 points. And the underlying numbers are, you can't say they're as good as anyone in baseball because like Juan Soto and Aaron Judge exist, but he might be he's probably top 5 in ex-WOBA for the season, I would guess. He's 7th, excuse me. So I just don't see any real reason to doubt the underlying numbers at this point. And so I'm just going to buy all in on that.
Yeah, I think that's totally defensible. And yeah, I thought about it as well. I probably just should. I think, he's done it for long enough now where, Vlad is definitely in that conversation to be the best first baseman in fantasy baseball. Are these 2 hitters back? Kind of. Corbin Carroll has been doing some things. 1 for 3 with 2 walks and 2 runs scored. Last 33 games, he's batting .246. Obviously, we want a better batting average, but 9 homers, 33 runs, 6 steals, and an OPS over 900. That's pretty good for Corbin Carroll. And Adolis Garcia, 3 for 5 with a double dong. Last 20 games, a 303 batting average, 3 homers, 3 steals, lots of line drives, hitting the ball hard during the span. What do you guys think? Are Corbin Carroll and Adolis Garcia kind of back?
I think Carroll is kind of back. It's kind of early to say for Adolis Garcia, though I've found Adolis Garcia to be a head scratcher all season because a lot of the underlying numbers look exactly the same as they have the past couple years. So I've been confused why Adolis Garcia has been so absent to begin with. But I actually did it. So you looked up the numbers for Corbin Carroll last 33 games.
Yep.
If you go back more like 60 games, you'll find the same thing. Batting average shy of 250, but OPS in the mid 800s and plenty of extra base hits. And yeah, we expected a higher batting average from Corbin Carroll, but batting average is a pretty noisy stat. And I don't know, he's gone a long way to relieving my concerns about his shoulder and whether or not he should be a highly drafted outfielder next year. And I certainly think of Corbin Carroll as must start right now.
Mm-hmm. It is a little weird that he only has 21 steals. He's still 96th percentile sprint speed. I think he's certainly capable of stealing more bases, but maybe it's just all the home runs he's been hitting recently. Hasn't had an opportunity to run as much. Let's talk about Wyatt Langford, who launched a clutch home run in the 9th inning, 3 for 5 with his 7th home run, added 3 runs and 3 RBI. His previous 27 games before this one, 149 batting average, 1 homer, a 458 OPS. Chris, do you think Wyatt Langford should still be 91% rostered on CBS?
Yeah, I understand. Like on the merits, probably not. But we've seen enough hot streaks from him where he's justified it, and obviously, I think the talent is still really impressive. I do hope at some point there's this like ongoing like, oh, these dumb nerds are wrong about Ellie De La Cruz and they were wrong about Fernando Tatis. And then we always like selectively remember which of the like super highly touted rookies actually hit and which ones fall on their faces like Wyatt Langford. And I hope we just add him to the mental model and don't forget that while yes, some of these guys turn into league winners, some of them don't. And Wyatt Langford, while I think deserves to be rostered just on the upside alone, I also think it's reasonable to say we're running out of time to worry about upside. You've got bench spots, and I'd rather use a bench spot on Wyatt Langford than whoever the replacement level outfielder in your league's waiver wire is.
Yeah, I mean, look at how quickly things turned around for Jackson Chourio. And they could for Langford as well. There have been a couple fake outs where we thought, okay, maybe Langford's coming on now, and then it hasn't happened. 27 games prior to this one, he was batting 149, so obviously had been totally useless. Did you give that stat already, Frank? Yeah, you did.
I sure did.
Yeah, well, I'm reinforcing it.
Scott just wants to make sure the people know.
You know, I've been it's the time of year where I'm listening to the fantasy football podcast because I have my draft coming up, and that is the lowest effort way to prepare for my draft. And I notice, you know, I'm usually when I'm listening, I'm driving or I'm doing work around the house or whatever, and I miss a lot of details because my mind tunes out for just a second to focus on whatever I'm doing on. I'm like, oh, what was that? And the more you can repeat things, the better is all I'm saying based on my own podcast.
I love that. I love that justification.
Yeah.
Adam Azer's been off the baseball pod for about 5 years, and Scott still listens to him more than he listens to me. How about that? Let's talk about Tyler Fitzgerald, who went 2 for 5 with his 14th home run last 26 games, 330 batting average with 13 homers, 5 steals, and an OPS over 1100. The plate discipline has gotten better during that time, too. 81% zone contact rate. That'll work for Tyler Fitzgerald. I don't know how we quantify this, but let's put our hypothetical hats on here. Is Tyler Fitzgerald about to be a league winner? It kind of feels like that.
I mean, it could end any day, you know. It could end any day. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. I'm not saying like cut him and
No, definitely do not
forget
do
it. But I don't think he's actually this good. I think eventually major league pitchers will figure out how to pitch to him. They may not figure it out this year, but they probably will next year if they don't figure it out this year. So I don't like being a buzzkill. But I do like being honest, and that's my honest assessment of Tyler Fitzgerald. I don't want to change it just because he had another day with a home run.
Yeah, like I'm trying to figure out like what's the comp here. Like
Zach Geloff.
Yeah, but like Geloff was 23 last year. Yeah, he was 23 years old. He was
a later breakout, yeah.
A somewhat notable prospect when he got called up. Like Tyler Fitzgerald got called up and nobody like batted an eye. He had been up. This is not like his first taste in the majors or anything. Like Patrick Wisdom in 2021.
I thought Max Muncy with the Dodgers when he first got there.
Sure, yeah. That's another kind of older,
but he actually became a
but
fantasy stud.
But like the thing,
there is a possibility Fitzgerald does do that. I understand it's a very low possibility.
That's the problem with the question, is you only remember the really notable ones, and that's going to skew towards the guys who worked out. Whereas like a Joey Meneses, who I know was a couple years older than Fitzgerald, but like Fitzgerald's about to turn 27. Like this is pretty old for what we're for a guy with the lack of experience at the major league level that he has. So there's no way to like what he's doing doesn't make sense. You know, like he has a 35% hard hit rate. He has an 88.4 mile per hour average exit velocity. His barrel rate is better than that, but it's like 75th percentile. It's not incredible. Like the underlying numbers are solid. 267 xBA, 485 x slug. Like that would be a really useful player, especially with a little bit of speed. Like that it's not hard to say Tyler Fitzgerald's a useful player. A league winner, what he's doing right now, it doesn't make any sense. So how can I analyze it? Like it's ineffable. And the rational part of my brain says there's no way he keeps it up, but there should have been no way for him to do this already. So what does it matter that he shouldn't be able to keep it up, right? Like that's the thing I'm struggling with.
Let's get into our final hitter question, and it is regarding Jonathan India. 3 for 5 with a double dong, 4 RBI. His previous 18 games before this, 103 batting average, 3 extra base hits, a 394 OPS, 78% rostered. Is Jonathan India still a must roster player?
Well, you ask us after he hits 2 home runs. I mean, not in the shallow leagues with no middle infield spot to fill. I think when he's going well, you're perfectly fine to use him there. But obviously, he had been struggling. I won't repeat the number that I'm sure you already said. But you know, if you just look at his year-to-date production in points leagues, Jonathan India is right in that range where you'd consider using him, even in shallower leagues. So
yeah, I'll say the leagues where I have him, I hadn't really considered dropping him.
Okay, fair enough.
He's 12th. He entered today 12th in head-to-head points at second base.
He's got like a 360 OBP. Like the power's been hit or miss, but it's a useful player. Yeah,
he's lower in my rankings than 12th. I'll tell you that.
Yes.
I moved Tyler Fitzgerald ahead of him. Right, Fitzgerald's eligible at second base.
Yep.
I moved Xavier Edwards ahead of him.
Same.
But so yeah, okay. So just is he must roster? No, but he's rosterable.
He's can roster.